call this regular council meeting of the Village of Manan of January the 6th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. to order at the Manan Community Center. And we have no pastor available. So, Jane, would you like to try us with prayer?
I'll give it a shot. Dear God, we just thank you today for the privilege to be here and to be entrusted with the well-being of our community. And we just pray that you would give us wisdom, that you would give us guidance in making the decisions that best enable our community to continue to be prosperous and to do what's best for all, dear Lord. And we just thank you that you watch over us each day. In your name, amen.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turner. That was good for the spur of the moment. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 2019 has been a stressful year. We were in hopes of having our aquatic fitness center underway by now, but it is not. So the council would like to have another look at the operating expenses. Hopefully that will be one that is manageable. The problems with our underwater power cable, then the problems with the generator known locally as the jet. NB Power brought in 7 generators and placed them on the Polk Camp Run. Some nearby residents were not happy with the noise from the generators, not taking into the fact that they were supplying power to the whole island, which was a necessity. We are now back on the underwater cable. NB Power is trying to find a company to take over the fiber optic cable. We have a new doctor who started work on January the 4th. The council wants to thank Dr. Robert Webb for supplying over the holidays. Hopefully the lobster continues to prosper in 2020, and we are very lucky to live on Manan with its outstanding citizens. We wish everyone a healthy and a prosperous 2020. Disclosure of conflict of interest. Adoption of the minutes of December the 2nd, 2019 and December the 30th, 2019, special meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we adopt those minutes as circulated.
You heard the motion by Deputy Mayor Moses. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Fitzsimmons. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Additions to the agenda. I have one here. It's the general operating fund. Gary Green painting at the doctor's house, $1,500. Fitworks equipment, fitness center equipment, $4,941.32. That is under the general operating fund. Do we have a motion?
I would so move.
Motion by Councillor Morse. Do we have a seconder? Second. Seconded by Councillor Chicken. Question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. RCMP report, the corporal notified our CAO, and I talked to him on the ferry that he could not make it tonight. So there will be nobody available. So now we have a 10-minute open session.
Hello. I'm here to ask if the council itself has gotten hold of the CRTC, or instead of just the Bell or the NB Power or those type of people. We have a history of having one of the best communication systems in Canada. We are on the border. During the 9/11 thing, I was offshore on a sailboat, and one of the comments that were made was, thank God you guys have the communication systems you have. We had to stay out 4 hours because of them being wary of somebody hitting the probe and infecting New York. Not us, New York. But anyway, they loved that we were so up to date and so far ahead on communications. We have Canadian rights and freedoms to stay to a standard with our communications, and I feel that if this village would make contact with the CRTC and say we are not remote, or if we are remote, we should be paying remote taxes. The RCMP here listed as remote, so maybe if they're going to put us as remote, we should actually go remote. But the thing is, if the village itself, I'm sure you know that there's sort of funding coming out in rounds. And the fact that we have had internet before New Brunswick did, it was Manan net, I don't know, we had it in 1989, there was 5 people, or 6 people. Robert, were you one of those people on that Manan net?
I was.
Yes, and we went through the Library of Congress for free for 4 years. They followed us around before the rest of New Brunswick had, and then they took us into UNB, they built the Woo Center, and they kept on saying, and we'll keep Grand in mind. So I feel that they owe us to keep us in mind. The other thing is, I know that the stirrings around for the last few days on the TVs have been very interesting with the what's going on with Trump and the whatever. We have always been on the side of the war. We have submarines in our radars. We have had 9/11 off our shore. We have had all the stuff that says we are in an important position and we are something a little bit different than any other place. Plus, we are the connection, or we should be the connection for all the islands together. I would like to see the council make some sort of special contact with CRTC. I called the CRTC because I had some kids that couldn't get their homework off of the internet because they could not afford internet. They had the computer, but they couldn't afford the internet cost. So I called CRTC and they said, who do you want to go after? Bell, Rogers, who are you talking about? Bell, Rogers, or TELUS? And I said, I'm talking about CRTC. And they said, what do you mean? I said, you're breaking the laws. We have a right to communication. And they called back every time and they got us something for $10. You can get a PIN number under Family Connects. I think it might still be in beta testing, but I know some people on the island have it. And for $10, you get 100 gigs of internet, so those kids can get their information, can afford to get the information from the school for their schooling, for communication, because communication is that important. So, yeah, what I'm asking is that the council itself no holds about who's going to get it, but for the to make known to the CRTC that we are a unique area. We have been at the first of the wave of this internet service, and the fact that we are going to, if our fishery ever goes down, it's going to be the internet that's going to be the biggest thing. We are the size of Manhattan Island, and whether we like it or not, and I really don't want to grow, I like it the way it is, but I've just lost a kid because she cannot do what she needs to do on the island because the service is not, she can't pursue the living that she needs to pursue here. And the fact that we need to have the whole village behind us. So just a notice of some sort, some sort of a history, why we're important, where we are, and not that we're being greedy, but we're actually protecting the way we've had our own telephone system at one time. You could gobbled up. We had our own telegraph system. We're not behind the times, but this would be the one step. We haven't had a Chamber of Commerce, and a Chamber of Commerce went with hundreds of letters. If you look at Scott Gumpel's books when he was the MLA, no, yeah, the MP for Grand Manan, no MLA. Anyway, there was hundreds of letters to keep us up to standard, and the Chamber of Commerce always had somebody from the school always involved. Anyway, we need to have that letter. They need to know we're here. And just dealing with NB Power or NB Tel or somebody who's going to cost them a little bit more, they're not going to recognize us. So that's what I request.
Thank you. Under new business, line 1 is the Wellness Center operating cost. Discussion and operating cost of Wellness Center and existing pool. Councilor Fitzsimmons.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe most of us would agree that it's time to take a good hard look at what we want and what we can afford in the area of the pool. We have a proposal in with the federal and provincial governments that would see a new indoor pool and wellness center being built here on Grand Manan. I think most of us would agree that it may be a once-in-a-lifetime deal. But one of the big questions is, can we afford to run this complex after it's built? Now, our rec director has some numbers for us that he can give us, he can share with us in a minute. And also our CAO has reached out to Silk Stevens and asked what a study may cost to run the wellness center, and also the cost of upgrading or replacing our existing outdoor pool. I realize we're waiting on a quote from Dwayne about the cement deck, but we all realize that there's many more problems up there. So there's much to talk about with that facility. But we do need to get at it. We're into January and spring will be here before we know it, and there's going to be a lot of questions out there. So just think we need to start that discussion now. Do we want Mr. Rayner to come up and give us what information he has?
So none of these numbers are actually new. This is some of the stuff that I had presented back when the Wellness Center first was talked about. The numbers that I've got here is a combination of some generated numbers through the engineering of Silk Stevens, as well as some actual figures from the Recreation Director in St. Stephen with their aquatic center. I know their aquatic center is a lot different. They have the aquatic as well as the arena, the walking track, and the fitness center. But we were able to break down some of the numbers from what they were using to go with the Silk Stevens numbers and try to make it our own. So basically, what it came down to was 4 main things. Biggest one being your staffing. Next is your energy costs, chemicals and repair and maintenance, as well as they throw in an asset renewal fee in there as well. I think it's much as similar as what we have with the existing facility. So 10 years down the road after it was built, you've got a little bit of a slush fund built there for major repairs. So the biggest thing is the energy costs. The energy cost was calculated at around 600,000 kilowatt hours of consumption. But the good news is with the addition of the heat pumps and the geothermal to heat the facility itself as well as the water, they were able to break that down from 600,000 kilowatts to 400,000. So what that broke down to in dollars wise was 600,000 kilowatts is roughly $60,000. So 400,000 kilowatts would be roughly $40,000. But in addition to that, the engineers recommended that if we went with LED lighting throughout the whole facility, which we all know how efficient the LED lighting, and we've seen quite a huge impact just from changing the arena lights, as well as introducing the passive solar into the design, which basically means with the walking track, the more natural light that we can get in, the less artificial light we have to produce. So there's an additional savings of about 6,200 kilowatts by using the passive solar. So at the end of the day, the $60,000 worth of energy, what they calculated, with the heat pumps, with the LED, the passive solar, and everything else that they can throw in there, brought the energy cost down to around $34,000. The staffing, again, Silk Stevens recommended a staffing number which was, to me, was astronomical. So we kind of broke it down into what we felt was more, would fit the needs of the island. The biggest thing is we'd have to have an aquatic supervisor, someone there full-time to run the day-to-day operation of the facility, to offer the programs, whether it's the seniors programs, the tiny tot swims, the learn to swims, the public swims, and all of that stuff. There has to be someone there for that position, as well as cleaning. Cleaning will be a big part as well. And we all know from here the amount of cleaning that takes place between the community center as well as the arena. So they have the cleaner in there. And we all know one person can't do all of it. So we're going to have to require some part-time, whether it's part-time adults or students in there as well. And with the students, there's programs out there to help offset some of the costs. We all know over the last couple of years, the federal government really messed up the SEED program, but the Canada Summer Jobs certainly is something that we take advantage of every year. So for staffing, the rough numbers that we kind of come up with for that, between the supervisor, the cleaner, as well as the part-time lifeguards, was about $135,000 per year for that. Now with that, if we were able to tap into, like I said, the Canada Summer Jobs or any other student work programs, you could probably knock that down by an additional, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, something like that, to get in the summertime. Looking at St. Stephen's chemicals and repairs for their pool, as well as some of the stuff that we have with our local pool. I know it's really hard to tell with that because of the disrepair, plus the amount of chemicals we use because of the amount that it leaks. Speaking with the rec director there, with the amount of stuff that they use, he felt that a fair number for the chemicals and the repair would be about $25,000 a year. And if you throw the asset renewal into that, which a rough figure of that, I know they use the same figure for here, was $10,000 a year. So that brings us up to about $204,000 is kind of what, an idea of what we were thinking that it would cost to operate. Now, if you take the $204,000, we currently have roughly $50,000 in the budget for existing pool. As well as for revenue, we've kind of estimated at $50,000 for possible revenue per year for the facility. I broke that down to $35,000 from the pool itself and $15,000 from the fitness center. I mean, we're up to $13,000 now with the fitness center that we have. So we were able to provide something that was bigger and better. We're probably able to increase that number as well. So if you take the $204,000, which is the estimated operating costs, subtract the amount of money that we have currently in the budget for the outdoor pool, which is roughly $50,000. If we tack on an additional $50,000 for what we put a number on for possible revenue, $35,000 from the pool, whether it's through programming, rentals, swim teams, and $15,000 from the fitness center, we're down to $104,000. Roughly is what we would be looking at. Like I said, with some crunching of some numbers and some programs out there, it's probably safe to say that you could probably estimate that somewhere between the $80,000 to $100,000 range. Which, at the end of the day, if these numbers are right, and again, these are just numbers. I mean, we try to do the best we can to estimate. That's why I reached out to St. Stephen to try to get an idea from them. You're probably looking at, with $80,000 to $100,000, 4 to 5 cents on the taxes. Again, these are just these are numbers, and it's really hard to guess.
Any questions for Chris?
I'm just wondering about the logistics of operating. You're assuming like the supervisor will be providing lifeguard as well? Or is that, I'm just trying to wrap my head around 135 for the staffing numbers.
The aquatic supervisor would have to be a trained lifeguard. They would have to do some guarding as well as some daily management as well. And hopefully that person would also be certified to teach lifeguards. That's one thing. If we have a pool, an indoor pool, we would have to have someone on staff that can teach KCB lifeguards. Instead of always relying on other municipalities to supply that person for us, because of course everything like that comes with an expense. And with these kids, I mean, it's a revolving door. I mean, these kids are coming through school, they're graduating, they're moving on, so it's time to replenish that. So we're always going to have to be adding new lifeguards to the system, which is great. So yeah.
Chris, what was Silk Stevens' estimate for staffing?
Silk Stevens' estimate for staffing was someone to add this up for me. A building caretaker at $40,000, cleaning staff at $40,000, a quiet manager / supervisor at $62,500, and 2 lifeguards at $100,000.
Yeah. 240, 25. I have a question, Mr. Mayor. Chris, when you talked about what you remember at 135,000, roughly, so what what will be the operating hours? And I assume you have to have 2 lifeguards when it's open, correct?
As we all know, there's no written legislation that says that in order for us to operate that pool, we have to have 2 certified lifeguards on deck at one time.
I thought that's
There's suggestions. The National Life Saving Society suggests that for every so many bathers, we supply 1 national certified lifeguard and 1 junior lifeguard. But everyone's ought to. It's not, there's no legislation. It's all suggested. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to liability. No one wants to put the stamp on it to say that you have to have this or you don't have to have that. So as far as operational hours, you assume it would run 7 days a week. Your main person would be there like normal, 40-45 hours a week, and that's when you'd have to rely on the part-time people. So your part-timers are probably going to work on average 20 hours a week to make up the difference.
But either way, you still require, whether they're full-time, so many people are full-time, or so many people are part-time, it's same amount of hours, right? That's up to the same amount.
Yep.
So what are we talking here, 8 to 5, or 8 to 8, or what are you thinking?
The thought process is different days a week open at different times. And it all depends on, once the facility comes, it's always going to be changing because we're going to need people to do these programs. I mean, you might have seniors aerobics that wants to come in at 6 a.m.
Sure.
And you might have moms and tots that don't want to come in until after supper. So it's always going to be, as the place changes and as more people come out and more programming is put in, it's really going to be hard to base those hours. But if you base the hours, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, I mean, obviously there's going to be some operating hours after supper in the evenings. Sundays may only be from 12 to 5. And Saturdays might be, 10 to 6.
If I may ask, in the summertime, in that facility, what's a typical day, or what's a...
The typical day is 12 to 6.
12 to 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some days, we have lessons open at 10. Some days, the Boys and Girls Club comes over for swimming lessons. They open at 11. Sometimes there's private rentals or birthday parties that they stay after 6 till 7:30 or 8. So it's always changed. It's whatever the community needs are, that's what we evolve around.
Well, I don't need anything pretty definite this evening, but I'm just trying to get what you're math on, I guess that's what I'm getting at. So.
The staffing part sort of bothers me. You're going to need 5, 6 lifeguards trained part-time.
Right now, we're basing on 1 full-time and 3 part-time.
But you're going to need these. I mean, some of these kids aren't going to be able to do certain times.
Yep.
I mean, you're gonna need a pool you can draw from.
Absolutely.
And this full-time person, is that gonna be enough? I mean, is one person gonna need to manage all that and still do some lifeguarding and all that?
This is assuming
Is
that
that-
some of the managerial responsibility will also fall to me as well. On certain times, the aquatic supervisor will spend majority of the time as in aquatics and share the responsibility as far as, the management or the day-to-day.
And you currently manage
The pool.
what we have now?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Because there's vacations and all this other stuff, life gets, so you do need some people trained.
That's why it's key that main operator is trained to certify people, because like I said, we're always going to be adding and subtracting.
And if you're gonna run 8-10 hours, I mean, you're gonna need more people in there. Like up to the pool, they're out on the deck so long, and then they sort of rotate.
They are, but again, that's, there's no actual protocol that says that you have to give that lifeguard 20 minutes for every half hour they work. If you go to the Qplex, I was there one day and I was talking with the lady that runs the facility, and in her office, she has a big window overlooking the outdoor pool. They had 10 lifeguards on, and those 10 lifeguards worked 4-hour shifts. Every 20 minutes, they rotated to 10 different stations around that pool. So they only got a half-hour break every 4 hours for an 8-hour shift. With us, currently, the kids are spoiled. They rotate 20 minutes. They're 20 minutes in the chair, and then they rotate from the chair into the canteen to run the window for 20 minutes, and then they're off for 20 minutes. So that's their hour, and they keep rotating that.
But if you have 70 hours of a pool running, that's an average of 10 hours a day, because 8 till 5 would be your 9. And you said some evening hours, so I just brought it to 10. If you paid them $18 an hour, just lifeguard costs would be $131,000 a year. And that's without payroll expenses.
Yeah, I had it at 135, I think,
For just lifeguards?
just for the lifeguards, yeah.
Okay.
So if 135 is for the lifeguards, does that include your full-time
Yes,
aquatic supervisor?
yes.
See, I had that for just lifeguards, just 2 lifeguards for 70 hours. At $18 an hour would be $2,500 a week.
It, like everyone said, it's a number and it's very hard to quantify. I personally feel that somewhere in between the 135 and the 242, I think the 135 is small. I think your full-time supervisor is going to eat up a bit more than what you plan on for that. If you're going to hire somebody that is a certified lifeguard, can do supervisor work, can do planning, and train more lifeguards, that's
It's not
going to be a
gonna come
fairly
cheap.
specialized person.
I think we need more than just estimates we're talking about here.
Oh, yeah, no,
I mean, we've got those indefinite numbers. I mean, this is estimated, that's estimated, and this is what they do, and like, we need I need some solid numbers.
It's a great start, but, it is a lot more meetings to go through. It's just on
This
this
is a
alone, on this topic alone. If we're getting that close to getting the funding, which may be coming according to the CEO, then we could you bought the Cadillac, can you drive it? Can you drive it? Same on.
What if we give Silk Stevens the information that Chris has provided, like about LED lighting and all the suggestions from St. Stephen, and ask them to crunch those numbers for us and say, what are your honest, like, not top end, but definitely safe and manageable, and good maintenance, all of that, what numbers can you give us? They may say the numbers we gave you are what we truly thought were accurate, but they may come down some from that. But I think we need them to look at it.
I'd like them to work with us too, I mean, like with Chris and.
Yeah, that's what I mean, if they have that information.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I don't know what kind of lighting they looked at, or, what kind of maintenance
I
they
think
looked
they
at.
did look at some of that LED lighting and stuff, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
they predicted that if we use the LED lighting, we could reduce the energy consumption from 600,000 to 400,000 kilowatt hours.
Silk
That's Silk
Stevens,
Stevens, yes. Now, I had the budget from St. Stephen for their pool. And St. Stephen's budget for the aquatic, for their staffing, is they have two categories. They have full-time, which are unionized staff members that work at the municipality, and they have non-unionized. Their unionized staff members was 75,000. Their non-unionized was 70,000, and that was their salaries for their
Per person?
total.
Tell me,
Yeah.
and how many staff did that cover?
It didn't say how many they had. There was 140,000. There was 18,000. 140,000 for the salary. 145,000, 75 and 70 for unionized and non-unionized, as well as there was 18,000 or something there for payroll expenses. But that was what their budget was for.
So around $167,000.
With the payroll expenses.
With the payroll
Yes.
expenses and such. Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have that all broken down.
Yeah.
We need so much per day, whatever. If we need the part-time lifeguards, the full-time, it'd just be nice to have that on paper and.
We can come up with a number of what we're going to do for hours.
Well, that's just it, I mean, you're gonna have to take one day off probably for maintenance or something, wouldn't you?
Or on
Cleaning, maintenance.
On Saturday or Sundays, if you're only operating for 4 or 5 hours a day, maybe it's from 12 to 5, maybe from 8 to 12 is maintenance in the
Yeah.
mornings.
So, I mean, that person's gonna cost you. The cleaning's gonna cost you,
Yep.
And I think we have to go with 2 lifeguards. I don't think anybody wants to see us do the minimum safety standard. If anyone ever thought we were cutting costs by, eliminating a lifeguard.
See, the Life Saving Society recommendations, and this is what everyone goes by, this is kind of the swimming pool Bible. Again, it's not legislated. Their recommendation is for 0 to 40 bathers, 1 lifeguard, which 99% of the time in the summertime at the outdoor pool, we run less than 40 bathers, so we have 1 lifeguard on deck.
That would be high, actually.
I think it was only one day, Canada Day, it was crazy. And I think we actually had all 3 guards on deck, because we had almost 100 people.
But every so often you bring them to the pool to a...
That day, where there were so many, the lifeguards put into effect after every 20 minutes, they blew the whistle to get everybody out, because it was just impossible to be able to see everything. Because there's so much agitation in the water, you can't
Sure.
see clearly. So for that day, normally, with less than 40 bathers, it's not too bad. You've got a few kids in the shallow end that can't swim, you've got some kids down on the diving board and on the slides. It's very easy to manage.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, Chris, but the facility in St. Stephen, it's bigger than what we're proposing too, isn't it? Because it's quite a facility in St. Stephen, that's all.
The Garcelon Center itself is larger, yes. The aquatic center wouldn't be.
Okay.
Our aquatic center would be larger than what they have currently.
All right.
They have a bigger arena, bigger fitness, more meeting rooms, the arena's
Yeah.
bigger.
I wasn't sure what the aquatic center in particular, because that's what we're talking about here. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But their budget had things broken down, expenses between their fitness center, their aquatic center, their arena, on different things.
But well, I mean, when it comes to salary, I was more concerned with energy costs, because it costs the same amount of money to pay somebody to supervise it, as that goes for energy costs, what I was really concerned about.
So the energy cost that we have here is estimated from Silk Stevens on the equipment that they have sourced.
Okay.
the geothermal pumps, the recirculating pumps, the backwash pumps, all that stuff. That's their engineers' calculations.
We sort of got like a ballpark from the council numbers, we're going to quite understand that it must be possible to go in and get a real detailed spreadsheet on the labor, they must have historic information by now, that if we're not completely comparing apples and oranges, but we might be doing oranges and tangerines. So there must be some really good information there that we can squeeze out and feel more comfortable with going into our actual meetings on this.
Yep, I mean, like I said, I had a copy of their 2016 and 2017 budget and the numbers that they had there at the time for the aquatic center.
If you feel that there's even more information that could be ferreted out into a finer hour than just,
I mean, they would have 2 more years worth of budget stuff
Yep.
as well. Yeah.
And I'm sure, Chris, it's like anything else, they probably have learned how to do things more efficiently over time. I mean, generally, that's the way it is with any operation, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a real good resource there to compare.
Now, one thing that did stand out in St. Stephen's budget, which was an actual number from 2016 to 2017, was their how much their revenue dropped in a year.
So we're not going to make any headway until somebody makes a motion. That you want Chris and Silk Stevens to get together and revise the figures, or who you want to do it.
I would make a motion that we have Silk Stevens work in tandem with Chris, our recreational director, to firm up some numbers based on the hours of operation, staff required, etc.
And updated.
Yes.
So you heard the motion by Councillor Turner. Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Mr.
Second
Mayor.
by Councillor Simmons. Question? You want a time frame on that?
As soon as possible.
What would be a good time, Chris?
Mid-February? Or could we get it in time for a February meeting?
We should be able to have it in time for the
Okay.
February meeting.
In time for the February meeting.
30 days then, roughly.
As long as Silk Stevens is available.
Right.
As long as
So you're
somebody
happy
is.
with 30 days on that, Councillor?
Yep.
Councillor Simmons?
Yep.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. So you want it, is that all of your report?
It's in a nutshell, but one thing I did want to bring up separate from that is the Seal Cove Playground. Just to get an idea of where that is, what's taking place as far as the spring budget-wise, because if we're looking at 3 to 4 months delivery time to get equipment, if this is something that's taking place. So it's really something that needs to be addressed.
Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, have we heard from the group, and I say so, for lack of a better term, since we said that we were interested?
Bonnie and I have, but we don't know why we have.
Yeah, Jane and I have approached to meet with a couple of the people who were spearheading it. We've been unable to set up a time, but maybe it would be beneficial if we draw Chris into this group with us, if that's okay, and have a chat about what the next steps should be.
Well, I would almost think that he should be myself, recreation after all, so.
We were approached during the last week or so I think it,
For a meeting yesterday afternoon, which wasn't going to happen.
so I think that would make sense.
I think what you should be aware of, this group was probably 5 people. Councillor Sturgeon?
Well, there's about a half dozen, so I didn't exactly do a head count, Mr. Mayor, but it was like a half dozen or so, several maybe.
And then there was 4 of those people that attended was never ever notified of any other meetings.
I haven't met with him in months, and I don't know if he's met with him since either, so.
So, anyway, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The reason that you were contacted was I phoned or told Susan that I can't. Before you have to have counselors to do it, so that's, I didn't say it was either you guys, but anyway, I said it had to be a counselor.
There's a lot to work out, Mr. Mayor, because they said they would help with fundraising and different things, so, I mean, we got the,
Last word I heard, they wouldn't.
well, last I heard from their meeting was that we would, so we gotta find out what exactly they have on there. What they're thinking, I guess, basically, because all we got is just an idea, and nothing more.
I think it's a great idea to sit down with them and with a recreation director and 2 different counselors
Yep.
and see what comes of it.
And before we go, I know this is taking quite a long time and everything, but there's also a second part to this, with the Grand Harbor Pool. Do you want to talk about any of that tonight, or?
Still Stevens is going to see what it would cost.
They are going to have a look at it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
because
to
there's
replace it.
a lot of questions there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well-
Everything that's up there is
Okay.
obsolete.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's crumbling.
can't use it again.
Oh,
No, even the old buildings and that thing.
oh, the equipment and everything, just,
Yeah. No, that's part of their
okay.
mandate, or I asked them
Yeah.
to get back to me today.
Well, I see.
Yeah, I mean, to go through the exercise you probably going through right now with, okay, we don't, agriculture doesn't go, then what would it be cost to put something, what we have now? I mean, give you an idea is that you have a figure to work with.
Right.
So, Chris, you get together with these 2 and whatever,
Absolutely.
as soon as possible?
Yeah.
Is that satisfactory? Okay, then.
Good?
Thank you. So, 9-2 is Bella Line technician position for Manan. This guy that's here, had been here, had applied for the position. And he didn't get it because he didn't have copper wire training. So we went and he got copper wire training. And they put him here, and then he was recalled out of here, I think, on December 27th for 2 weeks in Dartmouth. And then he's coming back here for 2 weeks. They had advertised the position, and before he was one that applied, and there was 2 other people from Ontario who had applied. And when they found out where Manan was, they didn't want to be here, so he was still left with the only one. And the report that I'm getting from everybody that's had him doing work, he's a great guy, he's knowledgeable, great communication skills. So I just thought it would probably be good to get a letter off to Bella Line. I wanted to know why this person couldn't be put in the position. He would love to make Manan his home, so.
Yeah, I had him working on my internet, and he was very flexible, like he said, if it acts up again, I'll be here. This was when I'll be here next week. Give me a call on my cell phone anytime. Now, most corporations don't treat us like that. They're not that flexible, that's like, I'll be here, but you'll have to call the office to make an appointment, which is what has happened to most of us if we've ever had internet problems with Bella Line. And I just was impressed by the fact that he, kind of brought it down a notch and made it more personable, more about us, I guess. It was
Well, that's
impressive.
what a serviceman's position is supposed to be, isn't it?
I know, but it isn't
No.
most times, so.
So I just thought it would be good if we could get a letter off, and we need a motion to do that.
I'd make that motion if you need me.
You heard the motion by Councillor Cheney. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Turner. Question? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. I don't know what his last name is, his first name is Marcus. So we've done the committee reports and approval to pay the following invoices, and that was an addition. And out of the general operating budget, Gary Green painting at the doctor's house, $1,500. Fitworks equipment, fitness center equipment, $4,941.32.
Can I just ask what equipment we bought?
We bought, what did we buy, Chris?
We bought a stationary bike,
Stepper?
stepper, as well as there was just a few little things for the adult programs in the morning, just a couple of mats, some bands. But the majority of it was the stationary bike and the stepper.
Did we have a motion?
Not yet, no, take the motion to pay the, as you read off, Mr. Mayor.
Heard the motion by Councilor Sturgeon, do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilor Cheney. Question? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. The next thing is closed session. Properties, Stanley Beach.
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Heard the motion by Councilor Morse, do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilor Simmons. Question? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We have a second.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded by Councilor Sturgeon.
Say goodnight, Dick.